So today we shall discuss how to find confidence interval of difference between means. So difference between means means difference between two means. Okay. So what we have actually, one case we have like this: two populations. And from each population we have drawn two samples. Okay. Sample 1 and sample 2 say. So naturally it has a mean mu1 and it has mean mu2. So we would like to know the confidence interval or try to find the confidence interval of mu1 minus mu2. Okay. Sometimes we have only one population and then we have drawn two samples. Okay, that case also we shall discuss. But the first case is straightforward. Two different populations are there. Okay, two samples we have drawn from each population. Okay, and we also know the standard deviations. Okay, sigma 1 and sigma 2 of the population actually. These are population parameters, not sample. Mu1, sigma 1, mu2, sigma 2 are parameters of population. Population 1 has mean mu1 and standard deviation sigma 1, and population 2 has mean mu2 and standard deviation sigma 2. We don't know mu1 and mu2, and therefore we want to find a confidence interval for mu1 minus mu2. But in this case, we know the two standard deviations. So this is one case. Okay. Later on, we will have populations whose standard deviations are not known. Okay, so here we know standard deviation. Standard deviations are known. Here, standard deviations are not known. Okay, so in this case, you'll see that we'll have three categories of problems. So though they are not known, but we assume that they are equal. Okay, whatever the values are, they are equal. They are not equals. Okay, in the last case is paired sample. Which are also known as dependent. Dependent like this. For example, if I have say 30 students, okay, and I can take two parameters, say height and weight of each of them. Okay, so I can get this paired sample. For example, student 1, I can get height and weight. Student 2, height and weight. So in this way, if I take this is the first sample, this is the second sample. Okay, so these are called paired sample. Okay. So they are dependent actually. Weight or height is dependent on each other. Okay, so these cases we are going to discuss. First case is straightforward, where there are two populations and two samples are drawn from one from each population, and we know the standard deviation. So let us start the discussion on finding confidence interval for this case, and then we'll later move to these second cases where we don't know is this. So before that, we have two random variables x and y that are independent, and x is a normal random variable having mean mu x and standard deviation sigma x, and y is again a normal random variable having mean mu y and standard deviation sigma y. Then these cases we have already seen. X plus y is normal random variable having mean mu x plus mu y, and variance is sigma x square plus sigma y square. Okay, so if you take the square root of this, you will get standard deviation. Similarly, in case of difference between two random variables. So this is a sampling distribution. So what is the mean of the distribution? Mean of the distribution is actually the difference of two population means. And standard deviation of the difference is this under root sigma 1 square upon n1 plus sigma 2 square upon n2. Okay, and this is normally distributed. And therefore, what we can use this, if this is the situation, then Z, if you take this general real, you should know that is minus E of statistic upon standard error of statistic. So in this case, our statistic is actually this x1 bar minus x2. So this is mean of statistics, mu1 minus mu2. So we can use here mu1 minus mu2, and then here we can use x bar minus x2 bar, and standard error. This is actually nothing but standard deviation. Okay, so this is standard deviation under root sigma 1 square upon n1 plus sigma 2 square upon n. So this parameter, this variable is actually normal random variable having mean 0 and standard deviation 1. This is actually standard normal variable. Standard normal variable. Which one? This Z is equal to statistic minus E of statistic upon AC of statistic. Now, so whatever you statistic take, in some case we can take X only, in some case we can take the difference. Okay, like this. So this we can use. So two population with known as this. So this is the Z variable. Okay, so these are actually the difference of means, sample means. Okay, this is E of x bar minus y bar is mu1 minus mu2, and this is AC of x bar minus y bar. So this is sigma 1 square upon n. This we have said. This is standard normal distribution of variable. Yes. So naturally, if you want to find 1 minus alpha into 100% confidence interval, then what we want actually, we want to have a probability this. So probability this means this we have already seen this term. So 1 minus alpha, we know that this part is 1 minus alpha. Okay, and this part is alpha by 2, and this part is again alpha by 2. So these are area or probability. Okay, So this is the point denoted by Z alpha by 2 in case of normal curve, and this is the point minus Z alpha by 2 because the curve is symmetric. Okay. So this just what I have said, this between minus Z alpha by 2 and Z alpha by 2, the area or the probability is 1 minus alpha. So this we take actually this one. Okay. And then we can substitute Z here, capital Z, that we have written here, x bar minus y bar minus mu1 minus mu2 upon this. And then we can do algebraic manipulations. Okay. So we have to keep this mu1 minus mu2 in between, and then we can find the left limit. So this is left, and this one is the right. So this is x bar minus y bar minus Z alpha by 2, and this is standard error. Okay. In the last case, if you remember, it was like this, or it is like this: x bar minus Z alpha by 2 upon sigma upon root n. So actually, if you compare this with this, then this is what this was their statistic. And this is actually standard error of statistic. So same, exactly the same formula in this case, in today's case, this is our statistics, and this is standard error of statistics, and then again Z alpha by 2 is there with plus minus plus. Okay, so in this way you can remember these real, though it looks little lengthier, but in this way you can remember. The statistics is x bar minus y bar, and standard error of statistics. Okay. So this is our confidence interval. This is left and this is right value. So all these things are there. I should not go into the details. Same things. So let us see this problem. So what it says, construct a 94% confidence interval. 94%. Okay, we have to see the value from the table. Confidence interval for the difference between the mean lifetimes of two kinds of light bulbs. Given that a random sample of 40 light bulbs of the first kind lasted on the average 418 hours of continuous use, and 50 light bulbs of the second kind lasted on the average 402 hours of continuous. The population standard deviation are known to be sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, so now you can see that all the things are given here. Average is given for the first sample. Okay, number is given. This is n1, this is x bar, this is n2, this is y bar. Okay, and then sigma 1 and sigma 2 are also there. What we have to do, we have to calculate this value, 94%. Okay, so 94% means 0.9400. Okay, so what we want actually, we want the Z alpha by 2. So this is actually alpha, or rather 1 minus alpha. This is 1 minus alpha. So this will be alpha will be here 0.006, I think. Okay. So if you add that, okay. So you get,
sir, it will be 0.06, na?
400, so 600. Okay. So this will be
0.06, yeah.
400, so 600. So this will be 600. Yeah. The 6 will add here. Okay. So this is 0.0. So and therefore alpha by 2 alpha by 2 will be equal to 0.0300. Okay. So what we want area 0.0300 in the right of z alpha by 2. Okay. This area will be where it. So this one, if you take this, so this area, this is z alpha by 2. So this area we want actually to be 0.0300. Okay. So this area is also the same 0.0300. All right. So what I can see in the table, I can okay. So I can see this value in the table, and corresponding to that, I will get a negative number here. Okay, because our table is cumulative distribution. Okay, it gives a value from minus infinity to that given z value. Okay, so corresponding to 0.0300, I will get a negative number. Okay, so I can omit negative. I can take this simply the numerical value. So all the numbers you can see except this 1.88. If you want, we can see this 1.88 in the normal table, or you can search actually. This table looks like this, you know that. Okay. So like this, you may find that this number somewhere. Okay. If this is your number, say 0.0300, then corresponding move horizontally here, you will get some number here, and move upward, you will get some number here. You add these two numbers, it will be equal to 1.88. So in this way we can find. So if we calculate this, the value comes out to be 6.3025.7. And therefore what we can say that we are 94% confident that the interval from this to this hours contains the actual difference between the mean lifetimes of the two kinds of light bulbs. Okay. So this is just a physical interpretation of the problem. Okay. So this gives actually, we are finding the confidence interval for the difference of means. So mean lifetime, difference of the mean lifetime of two kinds of light bulb. So next we have unknown standard deviations. So these are three cases I was discussing. Two populations with equal standard deviation. Okay, but in the beginning we have said we don't know standard deviation. These things you keep in mind. We don't know, but we assume that, though we don't know, but we assume that they are equal. Okay, so two populations with equal standard deviation, then two populations with unequal standard deviation, and then two populations using paired sample. That okay. So in this case, we use a T interval or T distribution. All right, in all the cases. Now pooled, non-pooled. So what is given? Given here is first case sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2, but we don't know these values actually. So let us assume that it is equal to sigma. So if it is equal to sigma, then you can take the sigma outside the square root sign here. This sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square, both are sigma square, sigma square. So inside the square root, we will have only 1 by n1 plus 1 by n2. But then we have to find an approximate value of sigma. Okay, so that is actually we use the sample to find the sigma. Okay, so we use two samples to find the approximate value of sigma. So this sigma is outside here. Okay. So what we have two samples actually, and therefore we have S1 square, that is variance of first sample. We have S2 square, variance of second sample. We also know that number of element in the first sample is N1 and the number of element in the second sample is N2. Okay, so we use these four numbers to approximate or to find approximate value of sigma. And in fact, we take the weighted mean of these numbers actually, weighted mean of S1 square and S2 square, right? So weighted. Now this we also know that while calculating S1 or S1 square, we don't use N1. In fact, we use N1 minus 1. Okay. In case of sample standard deviation or variance, we don't use the actual number of observation. Instead, we use one less, N1 minus 1, here N2 minus 1. So these are suppose our numbers. Okay. So what we do to approximate, to get the approximate value of sigma, we use the number N1 minus 1, S1 square, N2 minus 1, S2 square like this. So this is N1 minus 1, S1 square plus N2 minus 1, S2 square upon N1 minus 1 plus N2 minus 1. This plus sign is here. So N1 plus N2 minus 2. Okay. So this is actually taken as the approximate for sigma. Okay. So this is called pooled sample variance, SP square. Okay. This is called pooled sample variance. Okay, this is nothing but weighted mean of S1 square and S2 square. So this is the estimate for sigma square. All right. So in place of sigma, we can use SP. So if you use SP here, then this value is approximately T distribution with degree of freedom N1 plus N2 minus 2. Okay, this is the degree of freedom. So this is, you can say T N1 plus N2 minus 2. Okay. So we can use T distribution here, and we also know that this T distribution is also symmetric about its mean. So if you compare this result with the previous one, then in place of Z alpha by 2, we have T alpha by 2. And in place of sigma, we have SP. Okay, there it used to be actually sigma 1, sigma 2 here. Sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square. Okay, but this is because both sigmas are equal, so we can take out, and then sigma is approximated by SP. So these are our lower and upper limit. If you take minus, it is the lower value of the interval, and if you take plus, it is the upper value of the interval. So same thing. this is SPT and 1 upon N1 plus 1 upon N2. And also remember that the degree of freedom is N1 plus N2 minus 2. So for example, in this case, almost all the things are given. I obtain a 95% confidence interval for the difference between the mean salaries of faculty in private and public institutions with the following data. Okay, so mean values are given and standard deviation, sample standard deviation given, and the number of elements in the samples are also given. Okay, so everything is given here, nothing to do, just substitute the value in the formula, except you have to find this value T alpha by 2 63. So N1 is 35, you can see that. N2 is 30, so this is 65 and minus 2 63. So degree of freedom here is 63. So for this degree of freedom, you just find the value T alpha by 2 63. And again, like Z alpha by 2, this value is the number such that the area in the right is alpha by 2.
Sir, I have a question here. That in our T table we'll get for 63, I think above 30 is not given, na? Degree of freedom. Above 30, T table will not list values, right? Because it becomes normal distribution. 63 के लिए मिलेगा, sir?
Yeah, values are given.
Okay.
There are tables for me. In some books, actually, they don't give values after 30, but values are there. Okay, but because T distribution is not exactly equal to normal distribution, it is almost normal. Okay, after 30, we can say that it is almost normal, so we can use a normal table to find the value. Okay, if at all it is not there, but I have seen tables. Okay, for 63 we can get.
Okay, sir.
So this SP we have to calculate here with the help of S1 and S2, which is there. Okay, and then we can substitute the values. So finally you get this interval 2.49, 27.53. Okay, so mean salary, we are talking about the mean salary of private and government institutes. Okay, and the difference, of course. So what we can say that, or we are 95% confident that the difference between the mean salaries of faculty in private institutes and public institutions is somewhere between 2.49 unit and 27.53 unit. Okay, so some unit may be there. This can also be interpreted like this. In other words, we can say, or we can be 95% confident that the mean salary of faculty in private institution exceeds that of faculty in public institution by somewhere between 2.49 unit and 27.53. So just the same way to say something different. So now we have non-pooled T interval. Now non-pooled T interval, what are our assumptions? Assumptions are this, that we don't know sigma 1 and sigma 2, and they are also not equal. Okay, so sigma 1 and sigma 2 are not known, and sigma 1 is not equal to sigma 2. So these are our basic assumptions here. Okay, so in this case, what is our original formula? Original is actually x bar minus y bar plus minus z alpha by 2, and this was standard error. So this is sigma square upon n1 plus sigma 2 square upon n2. Okay. All right. So since we don't know sigma 1 and sigma 2, what we do, we use S1 square and S2 square that are simple standard deviations. Okay? And once we use simple standard deviation, then we can replace the Z alpha by 2 by T alpha by 2. Okay? So these things we do. So this is our variable, our statistic. So this is x bar minus y bar mu1 mu2, and this s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2. This is again a t statistic. Okay, or t distribution. It follows t distribution, but the degree of freedom is given by this formula. So this is degree of freedom in this case. Nu is equal to this s1 square by n1 plus s2 square by n2 whole square, and then this denominator, and rounded down to the nearest integer. So you have to round it down, okay, not up. So again, you can use this formula. We can say T nu, and of course the lower and upper will be minus T alpha by 2, T alpha by 2 for 1 minus alpha into 100% confidence. So this formula is very similar to the first formula. Okay, the values here. Difference of means, then T alpha by 2, and then under root s1 square upon n1 plus s2 square upon n2. The only difference is that calculation of nu has changed here. Okay, this is new. With the help of this, we can find the degree of freedom. So what it says, use the following table of data to obtain a 95% confidence interval for the difference mu1 minus mu2 between the mean operative times of the dynamic and static systems. So mean operating time, difference between mean operating times. Okay. So these values we can find for both the system, dynamic, we can find the mean, we can find standard deviation, and the number is also there. We can find all these values for a static system also. And then you have to calculate this number. This is degree of freedom of our T distribution. So it is almost 70. And for 95% confidence interval, alpha is 0.10, and therefore your alpha by 2 will be equal to 0.0050. Am I correct? Once again.
Yes, sir, 0.05, 0.05.
0.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is given actually T 0.05. Now the degree of freedom is 17, so you can find this value from the table, and you can verify this. The value is 1.740. So this we get minus 121.5 minus 25.9. So what is the interpretation is? Mean operating times of the dynamic somewhere between this. This is simple word. Reduce the mean operating time by somewhere between 25.9 minutes and 121.5 minutes. So now the last case is a paired T interval. Okay. So as I said earlier, in this case, we have a pair of elements. For example, we will see the last time I told you that, not last time, in this lecture in the beginning, okay. For example, if you take say 30-40 students and if you measure their height and weight, then you can find this pair of elements, right? So what we do, with the help of this, we define another variable, zi, that is actually difference between xi minus yi. So with the help of two numbers, what we get one number. So now we have a sample, that is z1 to zn. So for this sample, difference of means. So mean of this sample will be actually mean of x and mean of y. We can verify this. That is, z bar will be equal to x bar minus y bar. And in fact, we want to find the confidence interval of this number, x bar minus y bar. So it is equivalent to find the confidence interval for z bar. Now z bar is what? It is single sample, okay, of n elements, z1, z2, zn. So what we can do, we can apply, I think, the first, if these are normally distributed, okay, if z1, z2, zn are normally distributed, then we can use the first case to find the confidence interval for z bar, and that will be the confidence interval for x bar minus y bar. So you can see that we have a zi difference. So one sample technique discussed earlier can be applied to the data set. Okay. So this we have seen when last time actually. In the last lecture, we have seen that. So what we have seen, this is our standard error, and this is our E of standard error. Sorry, statistic, and this is our statistic. So in this case, it is equal to, because we are using sample standard deviation. This is not Z distribution, but T distribution having n minus 1 degree of freedom. So this Z bar minus mu1 minus mu2 upon Sz upon root n. Okay, so this is Tn minus 1. Okay. And then if you apply this So we get this lower limit z bar minus t alpha by 2 and standard error is z upon root m. This we have already seen in the last lecture. Okay. So our interval is this one. Z bar t alpha by 2 is z upon root m. This n minus 1 is degree of freedom. Okay, don't confuse me. So suppose we have age data in the following table. To obtain a 95% confidence interval for the difference between the mean ages of married men and married women. So 10 couples are taken, data from 10 couples. Okay, husband age and wife age are given here. So this Z bar we can calculate. Okay, and how this Z bar will be calculated? You'll find Z1, Z2, Z1, Z2, Z10. Okay, each Zi is equal to Xi minus Yi. Okay, so here I think you can take this as X, this you can take Y. Okay, and then you can construct the table for difference. Okay, and any stem, so you can divide that number. So this value you can calculate. It is given here, in fact. Okay, so this is actually sum of Z bar. Okay, and divide it by 10, you will get the mean. Now, what it says, this t distribution is also applicable. Okay, if the given data follows normal distribution, okay, are normally distributed. So that also we should check. Okay, if there are some outliers, we can leave them. Okay, so this is important. We need to examine the issue of normality and outliers. So this normality plot is given here. Okay, and now you can see that almost all of them lie on a straight line, and therefore in this case we can use t-interval procedure. Okay, so there is no outliers, and then you can find the values of 95%. If you want, alpha will be this. We can use t-interval to find t alpha y to 9. Okay, and this is SZ. This we have to also determine. This is standard deviation of Z1, Z2, Z10. All right. So all these things you can verify, and therefore we get the interval 0.047.16. So we can say that, or we are 95% confident that the mean age of married men exceeds the mean age of married women by somewhere between 0.054 years and 7.16 years. So in this way, we can find the confidence interval for difference of two means. Okay. So I think it is over now. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can stop today's lecture.
सर काफी कुछ समझ में तो आया, बस एक बार जाके थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा और कुछ नहीं।
हाँ,
आप पीपीटी शेयर करेंगे तो देख लेंगे एक बार।
हाँ, ये तो कर ही दूंगा।
काफी कुछ आया है समझ में।
और ये जो एक्चुअली नीचे जो प्रॉब्लम्स दिए हैं ना, इसको यदि हम करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो और ज्यादा समझ में आएगा।
Yeah, right, sir.
क्योंकि सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम तो समझ में आ जाता है, जब हम अनसॉल्व करेंगे तो किसी को भी मतलब उसमें ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा क्या करते हैं।
हाँ, थोड़ा सॉल्व को रेफर करके करने का कोशिश करेंगे सर।
और नहीं तो कुछ नहीं हो, एक बार अपने से ट्राई करें, और नहीं तो ये गूगल में ये पूरा का पूरा क्या कहते हैं कॉपी पेस्ट कर देंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं सॉल्यूशन मिल जाएगा इसका।
Yeah, right.
क्योंकि प्रोबेबिलिटी और स्टैटिस्टिक्स में ये मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है कि गूगल करोगे तो आपको सॉल्यूशन कहीं ना कहीं मिल जाता है।
हाँ, गूगल देवता तो है ही सर, आखिरी में लास्ट रिसोर्ट।
तो लेकिन पहले अपने से करें और फिर क्या कहते हैं जब देखें एटलीस्ट जो सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम दिया हुआ है यहाँ पे उसके क्या डेटा चाहिए, क्या इसमें अनसॉल्व में किस प्रकार से दिया हुआ है उसको प्राप्त करने की कोशिश करें, है ना। एक्स बार वाई बार सिग्मा 1 सिग्मा 2 का क्या स्टेटस है, नॉर्मलिटी का क्या स्टेटस है, ये सारी चीजें जो है अपने को देखना।
यस सर, करेंगे सर, ये अच्छे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं सर। नेक्स्ट ग्रुप में, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में क्या लेंगे हम लोग?
नेक्स्ट में हमारा ये मीन का तो खत्म हो गया, मीन के बाद हमारा प्रपोर्शन का है। प्रपोर्शन में भी वही सिंगल प्रपोर्शन और फिर डिफरेंस बिटवीन टू प्रपोर्शन।
ओके ओके सर।
और फिर उसके बाद तो इसको भी मेरे को लगता है दो लेक्चर में तो हो जाएगा, या 1 या 1.5 लेक्चर में हो जाएगा। तो देखते हैं, हो सके नहीं तो 2 लेक्चर में बाकी सारा मैटर वाइंड अप करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
हाँ, तो मतलब 4-5 लेक्चर अभी टोटल और करना पड़ेंगे हमको, राइट?
2 लेक्चर तो इसमें करने पड़ेंगे ये कॉन्फिडेंस इंटरवल में,
राइट।
और इसके बाद हाइपोथेसिस टेस्ट में 4-5 करना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से।
अच्छा अच्छा, गुड है सर, गुड
है ना,
राइट।
क्योंकि अपन धीरे धीरे चले तो थोड़ा ज्यादा समझ में आएगा।
यस सर, राइट राइट।
क्योंकि वहां पे बहुत सारी चीजें जो है वो आई थिंक मैं भी क्या कहते हैं उतना श्योर नहीं हूँ, जैसे ये नल हाइपोथेसिस और अल्टरनेट हाइपोथेसिस। कई बार हमको समझ में नहीं आता प्रॉब्लम को देख के कि नल हाइपोथेसिस क्या ले, अल्टरनेट क्या डिसाइड करें, तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं वहाँ पे।